Good afternoon. Guest of honor, Dr. Sonja Lahnstein-Kandel, members of the German delegation, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Professor Alfred Tauber, President of the University, Professor Reuben, Keynote Speaker, Professor Daniel Statman, honored guests, faculty, students, and friends. Welcome, willkommen, marhaba, bruchim habayim to the German Friends Association Festive reception hosted this year under the title Promoting Empowerment and Coexistence. My name is Mor Ber. I am 25 years old, a BA graduate in political science, and currently completing my MA in national security, both here at the University of Haifa. This past year, I have been fortunate to be appointed Vice President and COO of Imuna, the Israeli Model UN Association, and recently I've been elected as Chairwoman of the Board of Imuna. Imuna is an NGO dedicated to providing students from all across of Israel the tools and experience needed in the fields of diplomacy, decision-making, conflict resolution, strategy, and public speaking. Looking back at all the memories and experiences, I can honestly say that the German Friends Association had been an integral part of it all. My path has first crossed with the German Friends Association in 2015, when they had sponsored our MUN delegation to Hamburg. Needless to say, this was a multicultural delegation, as all Haimun delegations are. There are not many opportunities given to people from all different walks of life, backgrounds, to work, prepare, and present the same project together. In this type of delegation, we see that not only the walls between us break, we realize they do not even exist at all. During the delegation, my colleague and friend, Salim Bisharat, and I had the opportunity to participate in Bridging the Gap, Die Zukunft der Vergangenheit panel at Thalia Theater for the occasion of the Jubilee celebrations of the diplomatic relations between Israel and Germany. As for me, coming from a German family, this event was emotional indeed. Without ignoring the past, the chance to reflect on the future relations of Israel and Germany today, made me see a very positive future for both people and nations. These experiences encouraged me to learn German with my family and friends and become politically active and to initiate the University of Haifa's Student Union newspaper, and thus sparking and promoting a richer dialogue on campus. I am grateful for the dedication and endless caring that Sonja, Nicola, and their colleagues show towards me and the students of the whole university, and I wish us many more years of fruitful activity. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to call upon the President of the University of Haifa, Professor Reuben, to come up to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to one of the most important events, annual events of our Board of Governors here, an event that happens every single year, of which we're immensely proud. There's nothing that perhaps represents the spirit of this university more than this particular meeting, Sonja, as you know. This is who we are. We're a university where we seek to empower those who are perhaps not in the mainstream of Israeli society. Their families may not be. We want everybody to be part of Israel's middle class and feel that they belong and they have opportunities. And there's no doubt about it that this forum represents that and is very reflective of that. In preparing remarks for today, I was not sure how to do this and not bore people by repeating remarks that you may have heard before. And then I noticed that Dani Statman is the keynote speaker, and I thought, well, maybe I should do something a little dangerous and say something about philosophy, which may be relevant to today's. And of course, Fred is here, which makes it even more dangerous, as Fred is a great philosopher too. So I was trying to figure out what empowerment is in a university setting is all about, because it can often turn into a theoretical exercise with no immediate ramifications for real life. And since this is an event run by the German friends, let's say something about German philosophers more than anything else. So here I go, and please forgive me if I'm a little simplistic about this, but it's a thought that occurred to me coming down here today. So it was in the mid-19th century Germany that philosophy turned from idealism to materialism. Is that okay if I say something as broad as that? So far, okay. It is within a few decades that the writing of Hegel and Fichte were replaced by those of Marx. And and we all know that Marx claimed that the real purpose of philosophy is not to interpret the world, but actually to change it. And here I am referring to Marx as a practical person. Maybe not everybody would agree with that, but I think it's a very meaningful saying on the part of Marx. So this transformation from Geist to capital marked a significant change of thought. And I think it's very relevant to this meeting over here. I'm not suggesting that we should all become Marxists, but I do suggest that we approach what we do here, this concept of empowerment, of changing the world and not thinking of it only in very abstract terms. And I encourage all of us to focus on how we find common ground, how we actually do something with the knowledge that we accrue here at the university, and that we try to address larger problems, excuse me. None of this would have been possible without you, Sonja. And if we're talking about empowerment and coexistence, I would place you in the category of Wonder Woman, which is one of the symbols that we see often of women empowerment right now. You are equally talented in theory and in practice, and you have been devoted to this university for a long, long time. So the promotion of women, the promotion of social justice, the promotion of coexistence on our campus, and we're very grateful for your continuous presence over here. And as to you, and of course the students and faculty, all those who are here today are very much committed to that shared vision which you promote so energetically on our campus. Now going to a field which is something perhaps where I feel a little bit more comfortable. It's Marshall McLuhan, which is from a field I know a little bit about, communication. And of the many things he said over the years, I'll mention one which I think is relevant today. Marshall McLuhan once said, there are no passengers on the spaceship Earth. We're all crew, and that is the case here. We're all in this together. There are no, on the one hand, professors and students, guests and members of the university community. We're all in this together because we know that what we do over here will make a difference not only for Israeli society, for the region in general, and perhaps beyond that. I wish you all a wonderful afternoon, and thank you to the German friends for promoting this very special event.
Thank you, Professor Reuben. Sorry. I have the great pleasure of inviting someone who is very dear to me and who has made it possible to me to truly live up to my potential. I am of course talking about Professor Sonja Lahnstein-Kandel. I'm sorry, Doctor. Everything is mixing now. Sonja has been heading the German Friends Association for many years now and has been a dedicated champion to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Dr. Sonja Lahnstein-Kandel.
Dear friends, thank you very much. This is really my highlight when I come. I think I've been calculating now for 18 years to this university. And last year was a very special year for me, and those who were here remember that I have actually talked a little bit about the values of enlightenment, serious stuff. which were very dear to my heart and very important, and I think that they connect us, not only Germany and Israel, but us as human beings. Today I'm not giving a speech, so I'm just going to say a few words, very personal words. Maybe just 4 quick points. First of all, why do I love to come here so much? It's all about people. Other than home, and maybe my second home, which was Washington, D.C., my third maybe. I was born in Croatia. Then I lived in US, in Washington, D.C. for quite a long time, working for the World Bank and the IMF. And my home now is with my family, my husband in Hamburg, in Germany. This is my 4th home. And why? Because it's all about the people. It's really about the people. And this is, I feel so warm when I look around here. It's here that's important. It's you, our graduates, and we just met some of you, which was wonderful to meet you. But it's all my friends here. And when I look around, Ron, I mean, we've been together doing things when you were Dean of Students. It's ages ago. Now you're the president, you're taking the university on to new horizons, but you know how it was, you know its history, you know where it comes from. And this is this trusted relationship. I'm looking at Irene. It's Irene, Lady Irene Hutter, and her husband Maurice. Do you students really don't have a bigger supporter than them? Not only for the building, but always, every time I remember, you're surrounded by students. Always with students. And Irene is a friend, I can trust her, this is wonderful. I'm thinking of Fred, the chairman of the board, Fred Tauber, who I respect so much, and I enjoy so much his friendship, his trust, and his humor. I think this is wonderful. I'm thinking of my old friends here, Majid Al-Hajj, who was the most successful vice president of research, I think, of this university. But more than that, he is a friend. He took us to his house to meet his family, my husband and me. We've always been honest. We've talked about everything. I could always rely on him, the same as Faisal Asaiza, who I have known, who has been the first director of the Jewish Arab Center that I met here. And I will never forget those times. And I'm so happy that there is another friend that we know from what we do, Adi Ben-Ari, who is now the director of the Jewish Arab Center, and we've done wonderful projects with her. Maybe some of the students are here in exchange program with Israel and Germany. Second point about diversity. I mean, it's in everybody's words, in everybody's minds. We're always talking about it. We're thinking how best to deal with it and so on. But this is the place, it's just lived. It's facts. We don't have to create it. We don't have to write big statements, you know, what we stand for. This is the fact here. This is the diversity. When I look at you all in the different faces, different backgrounds, but maybe same goals. It's wonderful. This is the place, I always say, this is the biggest, nearly the biggest multicultural meeting place that I know of in the world. Of course, London and places like that, cosmopolitan places, find a lot of culture. But here we do things together. And I think this is really, really wonderful. And then it's about, you know, follow-up and sustainability. The new university leadership is planning big things for the university. And I think it's wonderful. It's with Muli, Eden, and Fred, and Ron, Reuben. And they, you know, working permanently on taking this university to other horizons, but not forgetting its culture, not forgetting what it stands for and what it is. It's diversity, and it's the richness of this diversity that actually creates dynamics, creativity, and so on. And it's all of you, our graduates, in our projects. It's sustainability. We want our projects, our Werner Otto Scholarship Project for Arab Israeli women who do master and PhD studies. We met them now. They're wonderful. Our community leadership project, Jewish Arab Community Leadership Program. The MUN, More Bear is a friend like that. I've known her now for years. She's advanced. She's going to be a great leader, a role model, like many of you, I'm sure. And we are very proud that we were able to contribute that little bit. One of the women we met today, she said, I asked her where do you find your motivation? How do you do it? And she said, yes, sometimes we feel like octopus, you know, having to do all these things at once. And you, the German friends, you make the difference. That means we can help with a little bit. And we are so happy that we can do that. We cannot do much. We cannot build buildings here, unfortunately, but we can help you, just put you on the way, be dynamic, take initiative, take care of people around you, be good to each other, and be happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sonja Lahnstein-Kandel. I couldn't agree more with everything you said, truly. And now for some music by our students from the Department of Music, Adib Sachnini on percussions, singing by Samar Yaqub, and Sirin Elias on piano. They will perform the piece Now or Never. Thank you. What a wonderful performance. We now proceed to present the various projects and programs generously supported by our German friends. Later, we will hear several of our students participating in these programs, accompanied by a short video prepared especially for today. I have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our first program, the University of Haifa Model United Nations Society. Model UN is an extracurricular activity in which students role-play delegates to the United Nations and simulate UN committees. I would like to say a few words about one of the most important things we learn in Model UN. That is research. Without sufficient and comprehensive research, we can't be good delegates for the different countries we represent. A good delegate is one that can consider all of the different positions in the committee and bringing at least most of them to an agreement, a plausible resolution. This requires the understanding of different perspectives and reaching compromises. This teaches us a very important lesson. There is no right and wrong, just different perspectives. Once we understand this, we become more tolerant towards one another, implement that in our daily life, and also become better people. Haimun is one of the most veteran societies in Israel, emphasizing multiculturalism for many years now. The German friends have shared our vision since then and until now, and have been kind enough in helping us with delegations to Germany. I am personally grateful to have been given opportunities afforded by these delegations and by the German friends. The second program showcased this evening is the Jewish Arab Community Leadership Program, which will be presented in the following short film.
התחלתי באמת כסטודנטית שהתעניינה בתוכנית, קראתי, זה משהו שעניין אותי כי לא נחשפתי לפני באמת לתרבות שונה משלי. וכן רציתי להכיר אנשים שונים, להיחשף לאנשים שאולי ביום יום ככה לא היה יוצא לי לדבר איתם.
כשנכנסתי לזה, כשראיתי מה קורה בפנים באמת, כשראיתי בעיניי את התהליך שעוברים הסטודנטים בתוך המלגה, בתוך התוכנית הזו, זה מה שגרם לי להישאר בעצם ולהתחבר באמת לתוכנית הזו. כשהתחלנו בתוכנית שלנו, כשעשינו כל מיני פעילויות פה במעונות, וראיתי שיש לנו את היכולת, אפילו אם זה משהו שינוי מינורי יחסית למה שקורה בחוץ, אם זה מתחיל במעונות פה, אבל כשיש את השינוי הזה שאתה רואה שאנשים מתחילים לא רק לשבת אחד ליד השני ולקום אחרי זה כאילו לא מכירים, לפחות, אתה יודע, לצחוק, לדבר, משהו, אתה יוצר ביניהם איזושהי אינטראקציה.
חיפה עיר מעורבת, אז איכשהו אנחנו משתלבים טוב בנוף, אבל לא כל עיר היא כזאת מקבלת וכזאת בעד הרעיון שאנחנו רוצים לקדם. והתוכנית נותנת את החופשיות הזאת לבוא ולקדם נושאים שחשובים, במיוחד עם המציאות שלנו במדינת ישראל.
זה כמו שתהיה כל החיים שלך בחדר חשוך, פתאום מישהו יפתח טיפה וילון וייכנס קצת אור מבחוץ. אז אתה תבין שיש משהו אחר בחוץ. זה יגרום לך לחשוב, וזה מה שאנחנו מחפשים. אנשים שמתחילים לחשוב, אנשים שתיצור אצלהם את המודעה הזו של יש פה מישהו אחר, יש פה אוכלוסיות אחרות שאנחנו צריכים, וכאילו ליצור את האינטראקציה, להיות במגע איתם. וזה גם יכול לשפר לך את החיים.
פתאום אני ניצבת בפני תרבויות שונות ומכירה את החברה הערבית בכל גווניה, אם זה דרוזים, נוצרים, מוסלמים. זה באמת, לא ידעתי לעשות את ההבחנה בין כל התרבויות לפני שנכנסתי לתוכנית. ברגע שנכנסתי ולאט לאט הכרתי באמת את כל האנשים, דיברתי ושאלתי על מנהגים ועל דברים מעבר, על נושאים קצת יותר עמוקים, על הזהות, שזה נושא מאוד משמעותי שאנחנו מדברים עליו גם במהלך התוכנית. לאט לאט החשיבה והתפיסה היא משתנה, ואתה לאט לאט מבין שצריך להסתכל על האדם באשר הוא, ולהבין שאין כל כך פערים כמו שחושבים.
כשאני מדבר עם ההורים שלי או עם החברים שלי, עם האחים שלי, ממש גאים במה שאני עושה. ושנה שעברה גם קיבלתי את אות התקווה הישראלית פה מאוניברסיטת חיפה, וכשהגיעו לפה גם האחים שלי, הגיעו לפה המשפחה, אז הם היו ממש שמחים לראות אותי מקבל דבר כזה, מקבל את האות הזו. וזה משהו שמשמח.
ואני זכיתי להיות חלק מהתוכנית הגדולה והמדהימה הזאת, שנתנה לי במובן מסוים הרבה יכולות להתמודד בעצם עם הדברים שאני מתמודדת היום בתואר השני. כי היא נותנת גם את החוש מנהיגות, היא מפתחת, גם את היכולת להכיר בן אדם אחר ולהכיל אותו, וגם את היכולת לבוא ולדבר בלי חשש שמישהו יבוא ויתקוף אותך, פשוט יקשיבו לך ולא בהכרח יקבלו את הדעות שלך, שזה מה שיפה, כי אנחנו מתווכחים הרבה. אבל הכבוד ההדדי שקורה בקבוצה, תהליך מדהים שאני גאה להיות חלק מהנושא הזה. ועד סוף השנה, באמת אני יכולה להעיד שהחברים הכי טובים שלי הם החברים מהתוכנית. כי יצרתי חברים לחיים וקיבלתי אותם ללא כל תנאי מסוים, ללא שפיטה מסוימת, וזה החברות הכי אמיתית ממני.
This is truly an inspiring program. I now have the pleasure to present a fellow student who will speak to you a little about another unique program, the Haifa meets Frankfurt program, headed by Professor Adital Ben-Ari. This program is a realization of Professor Ben-Ari's vision. Zohar, please come up.
I'm really excited to be here. So hello, welcome, and thank you for being here. My name is Zohar Manishevitz. I'm 32 years old, and I've just finished my third and last year in the Master Supplementary Program in Social Work. To those who don't know, it means that my first degree was not in the social work fields. I can definitely say that Haifa meets Frankfurt was one of the important cornerstones in my degree. From the University of Haifa, we were a group of 12 women and men, Palestinians and Israelis, who were willing to open their heart and their minds and to listen to the other, despite our differences. The starting point of our local group was the meeting with the 17 Frankfurt students. This week enabled us to really talk, to get to know each other, to open up and to discuss sensitive subjects such as the Holocaust, the Nakba, human rights, and so on. Don't get me wrong, it was also a lot of fun. Maybe the main reason is that during all of this, we succeed to connect and to become friends. Just to show you how meaningful this experience was to me, let me tell you that I'm living in downtown Haifa, which is an area where both Arab and Jews live. It is a young and vibrant neighborhood. I also study here at the University of Haifa, which is also a mixed university. But until I joined this group, I had never really had a meaningful conversation with Arabs, especially about political issues. Today, it is obvious to me and that this is possible and even important to talk about these subjects in order to really know someone and to become friends. We are raised with certain narratives that we never had the chance to really think about or doubt. My time in the group allowed me to do these things and to truly dive into such subjects. Thanks to the group, I also chose some critical courses during my last year of the degree. Today, I believe that part of the commitment as a social worker is to be aware socially, politically, and to have an activist awareness. I really want to say thank you for this opportunity. It wouldn't be an overstatement to say this group changed my life and my perspective. I can only wish that all social work students would have the opportunity to be in a group like this. And even every person in this region, we definitely need it. We can definitely use the opportunity to break some narratives and to talk openly to one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Zohar. It's lovely to hear you've had such a meaningful and impactful experience. Another important program is the JCM Conference, headed by Dr. Moshe Levi-Levkovich. JCM is a unique interfaith dialogue conference, bringing together academics, clergy, educators, and students to an intensive week of study, discussion, and sharing of religious and cultural experiences. This year, the students had the opportunity to attend keynote lectures by members of three faiths of the sensitive topic of immigration and refugees, to work in diverse project groups led by experts including Jewish Muslim text study, poetry, Persian calligraphy, and singing, to share their ideas, thoughts, reflections, and emotions in discussion groups, to attend or passively encounter prayers and meditations. JCM is about sharing experiences and developing friendships which cross national, ethnic, and religious boundaries. But it is also a space to explore tensions and examine them in a secure and healthy environment. The final project I wish to introduce is the Werner Otto Scholarship Program for Arab women graduate students. Let us watch a short film about its impact.
נולדתי למשפחה שהיא משפחה לא משכילה. אני לא הייתי טובה בבית ספר, עדיין אני שומרת את התעודות שלי שמסומנות באדום, כאילו שזה ציונים של 50, 40, אני גאה בזה, גם אני מספרת את זה, אני לא מתביישת, כי בעצם זה משבר, אבל זה נקודת המעבר הייתה בחיים שלי, באמת לעמוד על הרגליים אחר כך. אז עמדו בפניי שני דרכים. או להמשיך איך שאני, כאילו לסיים את עוד כיתה ט', כאילו עוד לסיים את החטיבת ביניים, לעלות את התיכון, כמו שיהיה, או להתחיל מההתחלה. אז אני בחרתי בדרך הקשה, למרות שלא היה אף אחד במשפחה שהוא משכיל שיכול לשבת איתי וללמד אותי, סיימתי את התיכון בהצטיינות. ואחרי שסיימתי, אני רוצה ללמוד באוניברסיטה. זה עוד בעיה בחיים שלי, כי אף בת במשפחה לא המשיכה את הלימודים שלה אחרי תיכון. אני אמרתי, אני אתחיל מהסוף, ואני אבוא לאבא שלי ואגיד לו, אני נרשמתי לאוניברסיטה. וככה עשיתי, אני שיקרתי, את האמת. באתי לאבא שלי ואמרתי לו, אני נרשמתי לאוניברסיטה. אמר לי, בסדר. ובאותו יום שאני מקבלת את המכתב קבלה, אז המשפחה של אבא שלי, המשפחה המורחבת, מתנגדת. אמרו לי, את לא הולכת ללמוד באוניברסיטה. קמתי ואמרתי, אף אחד לא מתערב בחיים שלי. היה לי מאוד קשה, לא פשוט, כבחורה ערבייה שגרה בתוך אום אל-פחם, שאף פעם לא יצאה בתוך אום אל-פחם, לא יצאתי בכלל לא לטייל, לא לקניון, לא לאף מקום. הייתי כל הזמן ממש שקועה בתוך היישוב, ובשבילי זה כאילו חוץ לארץ. סיימתי את התואר הראשון שלי, לא בהצטיינות, אבל סיימתי אותו, והייתי גאה בעצמי שאני הבת הראשונה במשפחה שיש לה תואר. כשהמשכתי את התואר שני, אז המשכתי בארכיאולוגיה, וסיימתי בהצטיינות, וקיבלתי את המלגה של ורנר אוטו, של נשים ערביות מצטיינות, ועכשיו אני דוקטורנטית, שנה שלישית, גם מצטיינת. המלגה הזאת אפשרה לי לפגוש נשים ערביות מצטיינות מתוך האוניברסיטה, אולי ראיתי אותן פה ושם, אבל אף פעם לא ידעתי עליהן ולא דיברתי איתן, וכל אחת יש לה סיפור משלה, ומה היא חובה, וחלקן נשואות עם ילדים, חלקן לא, וחלקן עובדות עבודות קשות כדי ממש לממן את שכר הלימוד, לממן את המחקר. זה מראה שאנחנו, למרות שיש הרבה דברים בעייתיים ויש הרבה דברים שונים, אז אני מרגישה שאני באמת חלק מהאוניברסיטה הזאת, וחלק חושבים עליי.
Such an inspirational story. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Now I have the privilege of introducing our keynote speaker for today, Professor Daniel Statman. Professor Statman is head of the Department of Philosophy and co-founder of the and academic advisor of the Min HaBe'erot from the Wales program under Shalom Hartman Institute. The program brings together Jewish and Arab educators to address issues related to their shared background as citizens of the State of Israel, through the study of common values based on traditional Muslim, Christian, and Jewish texts. Professor Statman, you have the stage.
The Arab announcement will be followed by English. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أنا أعرف أن بعض منكم مرات بيشعروا اليأس من إمكانية تصليح العلاقات بين اليهود والعرب، وأنا كمان مرات بشعر يأس. بس البرنامج اللي أحكي عنه اليوم يؤدي لأمل. لذلك أنا بحاجة لأن تحبوا هذا البرنامج، وإن شاء الله في المستقبل تشتركوا فيه. وإسا لو سمحتوا بنتقل للعبراني. Good evening, everybody. By the way, I think we should do this more often at the university. It's okay with me that the kind of the formal language would be Hebrew. I think our Arab students are okay with Hebrew, especially after the first, second year. But I think it's good that on these occasions there'll be some words of Arabic spoken. Sah? Sah. So this is going to be a story of hope and inspiration. I know not everything is great in the world or in Israel, but this in particular is a story of hope and inspiration. So let me, where's Ron? Ron? He's not here anymore. So we both thought about these great German philosophers, Hegel and Marx, in this context. So let me start with some philosophy and then go to some practice. So I've been involved in this program. I'll tell you more about the program soon, for a few years now. And the philosophical question that bothers me is whether at all it's possible to initiate big changes in societies bottom up. Hegel, the great German philosopher, would laugh at us by this very idea. Hegel, as well as Marx, following him on this, thought that individuals or individual groups have no way they can change the flow of history. okay? There's a kind of internal dynamic in history which goes well beyond the plans, the thoughts, or the acts of individual actors. So you might have some leader, some president or some king, they think that they are moving history. But it's an illusion. The laws of history are far beyond those, the activities of these individuals. So for instance, let's say somebody thinks that his or her current society is too liberal, and you want to act to change that. So Hegel would say, no, it's not a matter of some individual initiative. Just have patience. When society would get too liberal, it necessarily is going to go to the other extreme. And if it's too conservative, and it exhausts the this conservative phase, is going to fire back and be liberal again, okay? Now these are quite depressing thoughts for somebody who wants to do something to society, right? It says that you're just one person, or maybe a group of people. These historic forces are much stronger. So this is just to say that I hope these philosophers are wrong. And I truly believe, and it's more a belief here, I don't have kind of a strong argument. It's my belief, especially after my activity in this program, that there is this miraculous option of changing society bottom up. Okay, so now let me get closer to the program, or the rationale behind the program. So we saw earlier this very nice video on this program of Jewish and Arab students and the effect it has on on participants. It was very moving. It's a lovely program. But friends, there's only so many students we can get to. I don't know how many students participate in this program every year. Let's say 50, 100, 200. This university has 15,000 students every year or more. Okay? So if we can get through this program only to something like 200 students, that's nice, it's important, but if you want to change society, not only these individuals, you want to change society, that seems to be insufficient, right? Now, when I look around, in the kind of the common thought in Israel, everybody realized that we must do something to fix the relations between Jews and Arabs, which are not great. And they're not great for many reasons. One of them is the de facto segregation of the Israeli society, by which I mean that maybe 95% or more of the Jews live in Jewish areas and would never have an Arab friend, even if they're very nice Jews, not racist at all. They live in Tel Aviv. They went to schools where they met only Jews. Maybe in the university they'll meet some Arab students, but that's the only opportunity. And the same with many Arabs, not all of them, but many Arabs. So this impressive PhD student in the end came out of al-Fahim and got to university. But many of her friends would have remained in al-Fahim and would never work or study with Jews. So in such a de facto segregation, there's no wonder that there's so many negative mutual stereotypes and so on. Okay, so we're talking about trying to kind of fix, to mend the entire society. So you can't achieve that by just having groups of students at university or elementary school, which is what they do all the time. They take first graders in some school, Jews and Arabs. They get them together for 1 or 2 meetings. They have hummus together. They maybe sing something in Hebrew, maybe in Arabic, and they go home. and they say, oh, okay, we did something. Now, I'm not cynical about it. It is important, but if you want to fix the relations in society, that won't do that. So that's where we came to the idea that if we want to do something significant kind of on a national level, we need to work with agents of change, not with, you know, a group of individual students. And who are potential agents of change? These are school principals, not students. So if we can change the way school principals think about these issues, then this actually might make a real difference in the world. Why? Because each of these principals can influence thousands of people during the years. The principals can influence their teachers can influence their children, and so on. So that was the basic idea. That is the basic idea. So 4 years ago, we formed the first group. I say we, it's under the Hartman Institute in Jerusalem, and the two academic advisories are from Haifa. It's myself and my colleague, Dr. Ayman Akhbarieh from the Faculty of Education. So the first group was formed 4 years ago in Haifa. A group of 30 principals, half Jewish, half Arab. The Arabs, most of them Muslim and some Christian. Okay, so the first idea was to work with people who can create change, agents of change. The second was, there's no value in these one-time meetings. Drop them all together. There's just no point in having them. So we are talking about a 2-year program. If you want to really build trust between Jews and Arabs, you need a 2-year program. You need really people to know each other seriously. The third principle was that we bracket issues of the conflict to a later stage. It's not that we plan to avoid them, but look, if you get people together, Jews and Arabs in Israel, and you haven't yet built trust among them, and you start talking about the Nakba, that's going to explode. Why? This we know from psychology. All human beings have a very strong tribal attitude. So if I'm a Jew and you say things that I understand might be understood as an attack on Jews or the state of Israel as a Jewish, my immediate reaction, almost can't stop it. My immediate reaction is to go back to my tribe and defend my tribe, and of course the same with the Arabs. The only chance of us, having a constructive discussion about these things is after we really trust each other, and we're not in a kind of combative mood. Okay. So then the final question was what to do when we meet together. Okay, so we meet together. We have this idea of principles, we get them together. What do we do when we get together? And here, the idea which turned to be brilliant, though I'm not sure we can take credit, but it was a kind of a guess, but it worked, was that we should study together texts from the 3 big traditions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, organized through topics. So it works like this. So let's say we take the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness. So 1 week we would invite some qadi or imam, and he would present a handout with sources from the Muslim tradition, from the Quran, from the Hadith, and then we would split the group into smaller groups, what we call chavrutot, smaller groups, and they would study these texts together with guiding questions. And then we would all assemble and talk about what we studied. And then the following meeting we would bring a rabbi or some Jewish scholar to prepare a handout with Jewish sources on forgiveness, and then a Christian scholar, and so on. Now, this appeared to be very powerful. It's powerful from, I think, 2 aspects. First of all, apparently, even for people who are not themselves committed religiously, when they connect to the sources of their own tradition, it can inspire them morally much more than, abstract philosophy. So you take Jews who are secular, not especially connected to the Talmud, the Mishnah, you teach them these sources, somehow it inspires them in a very significant way. So that's one thing. The second thing was that you have Jews and Arabs sitting together and, let's say, studying the Quran, some text from the Quran. And everybody tries to understand the text together. And the Muslim participants really appreciate the fact that these Jews are genuinely interested in the Quran. Okay? So it builds very deep mutual respect. It's not kind of a superficial level. It's not superficial, it goes to the depth of our identity. When the Jew really asks the Muslim, okay, explain to me what's going on here in this surah. And tell me about Ramadan. And tell me about your customs. It's not just tell me about how you dress. It's explain to me who you are, what your identity is. And this, I think, helped to build a lot of mutual trust between participants. One incredible, again, we couldn't predict that result of the program was that some of the participants, as a result of the program, got very interested in their own heritage. So last week we had a meeting in Kufr Qasim. We had an iftar there, the meal, ending the fast, the Ramadan. So there's a Christian woman teacher from Jaffa, a very sweet woman. So she said that when she came to the program, she comes from a secular Christian family. She's Christian because, the family is in some sense Christian, but it meant nothing to her. She was never a believer. She never took church seriously. She never, read the New Testament or anything like that. And then she said that as a result of this program, she came much more interested in her own culture. And even, start toying with the idea of God and reading the Injil, the New Testament, and so on. The same happens with the Jews and Muslims in this group. So precisely because of this dialogue, each of the participants is more interested in their own identity, their own culture. By the way, it was very interesting. We kind of Jews, because we know so little about the Muslim society in Israel, you think that if you give a handout of Muslim sources and you have small groups, so the groups would include Muslims, Christians, and Jews. And then we said, okay, naturally, the Muslim participants, the Muslim principals should lead the study. But then we had these Muslims who said to us very frankly, the fact I'm Muslim doesn't mean I'm an expert in the Quran. The Quran is a very hard book. So the fact that somebody grew up as Muslim and maybe could, recite some of the surahs doesn't mean that they really understand this text. So even for the Muslims, this was a very interesting experience of reading this text directly with no mediators. So what's the vision? So when I think about the vision, it's kind of, I say to myself, Danny, what do you think you are? What do you think? This is very ambitious, really very ambitious. It's not about giving a good time to these principles and doing something locally. We really want to fix society through the educational system. So our dream is, in the coming, let's say, decade, in the coming, let's say, 10 years, to expand and to have, let me be modest, let's say 50% of school principals in Israel would go through our program, and 50%, or 30% of the teachers would go through our program. That could actually make a real change in the world. Now, this would happen in two ways. First of all, as I said, we're changing the consciousness, the minds of these people, these educators. Just to give you a hint of what I mean. So the concluding session of one of our groups, one of the Jews said, the Jewish teachers said, that one of the results of our program is that now every time she's in the public sphere in Israel, and there's some kind of activity, like here or wherever, she asks herself, what would her Arab friends feel if they were there? Now, of course, this has to do with the fact that mostly the public sphere in Israel is through and through Jewish and Hebrew. And often Arabs are not, explicitly and directly excluded or anything like that. But still, the atmosphere is not very hospitable to them, okay, because it's so Jewish. And that was her insight from the program, that every time she's there, and it's kind of too Jewish, she says to herself, just a minute, my friends from the program, if they were here with me, they wouldn't feel too much at home. Okay, so that's one thing to change the minds of these educators. The second is, we want them to go back home to their schools and do things themselves. So on Monday, we had the concluding session of the second northern group at the Ahmadi mosque here at Haifa. And my words to them were the following. I said to them, look, they're very, very close to each other. It's been a great experience for them. So I said to them, look, I know you had a great time with us. But this program is costing a lot of money, and many people are investing a lot of effort. This is not only for you guys to have a nice time. For this program to work, you need to go back to your communities and do things. We want you to implement this. For instance, so last year, 2 graduates of the program, two school principals, one from the city of Chatzor in the Upper Galilee, and the other is a principal in a small, not that small, in a Bedouin place called Tuba, which is not far. They organized a series of meetings between their teachers of Tuba and teachers of Chatzor. So that's kind of the fulfillment of the dream, that each of our principals goes back to their school and organizes activities like this. Last point, we also want to change the curriculum. Those who graduate what's called here Jewish schools in Hebrew would have never, you wouldn't believe this if you come from abroad, would have never in their lives opened the Quran. Okay? That's not the case with Arab students. Arab students in Israel would have opened the Bible. But Jewish students would have never opened the Quran or the New Testament. Okay? So I'm sure for many of them, the Quran is only about jihad. Jihad in the negative sense. Okay? That's okay. So we've just completed our first unit. Unit that we hope will be implemented in some schools, especially in Haifa. The idea is, the unit is about relations within family. It's in Hebrew and in Arabic, and it includes sources from Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. And the idea is that this unit would be studied in both Jewish schools and Arab schools. Okay, I think I've been talking too long. So it's time for some questions, comments. I can just say this is a great idea. We'll join you. We'll give you some money. Shukran lailkum. סואל, הערות, משהו. Go ahead. No, this is something, no, this is a kind of a unique program which schools can take. Yeah. So, no, that's a bit too ambitious, no. Yeah. Go ahead. No, so maybe I missed this out. It's been going on for 4 years. This is our 4th year. 4th year? No, the curriculum hasn't started yet. What's been going on for 4 years are these groups of principals and of teachers. No, but that's okay with me. No, I'm serious. That's the philosophy behind this. I think the students are the last one in this project. If we manage to recruit principals and teachers, I'm not worried about the students. No, I'll tell you what I mean. Let me talk more about the Jews because I understand more, the Jewish sector. I see how committed the Jewish participants are when they come out of our program to fighting against racism and to promoting coexistence. So I've no doubt that this would express itself in classroom, okay? So that's what I mean. So when I manage to recruit the principals and the teachers, it's not that important for me to get the students together. I want to do that, but that's for me less urgent. Yeah. Maybe. Thank you for this offer. By the way, we've had an important principal for Tamra, Yazid Awad, بتعرفه? That's a family of principals, right? Yeah. تفضلي. Really? Small world. Yeah. Do you want a mic?
I'll ask a very stupid question. I don't understand, maybe you can explain, why in this country actually there are separate schools for Jews and Arabs. Okay. Because, as I know from any country that has a mixed population and strong minority, majority, and so on, the only way is actually to go to school together, started from the kindergarten. Why is it this way in this country?
Okay. Okay, on the bright side, there are some. You might know that. There are some, yeah, I know. We said we are for hope this evening, right? So there are some in Haifa. I know there's, by the way, there's a long queue here to get into the school in Kababir. Okay, but the thing is, the problem is a bit deeper. So that has to do with what I call the de facto segregation in where people live. Okay. So let's take a very big place like Fahim. Okay, how many people live there in Fahim? 55,000. Okay, so 55,000 live in Fahim. I think there's not a single Jew there. Maybe there used to be one. Maybe one Jew. Okay, there's no Jews there. Okay, So naturally, the schools in Al-Fahim would only be Arab schools, okay? If you think about a place like, I don't know, Givatayim or Ramat Gan and so on, those places are almost 100% Jewish. So naturally, there would be only Jewish kids there, okay? So now, even if in mixed cities like Haifa or Akko, Acre, or Jaffa and so on, even if in those places we'll manage to have more mixed schools, it's still a small minority of Israeli society. I mean, this is, I think you put your finger, it wasn't a stupid question at all, because you put your finger on what I seem to be the biggest obstacle for fixing the relation between Jews and Arabs. In a sense, in our program, we kind of bridge it. So we take people who never studied together, never worked together, were never neighbors together, and 2 years of being together, we kind of connect them. But when you talk about the masses, this just won't happen. It won't happen, and I think it would be crazy if any government tried, by some way to force this to happen, to turn Al-Fahim to a half-Jewish place, to attract Jews into Al-Fahim or to Arabe or stuff like that. This won't. Now, also there's another question, and we can ask people in the audience. And the question is whether how many Jews and Arabs would be interested in these mixed or integrated schools. Now, 2 years ago, I talked about our program in a place for Kufr Kara, and we talked to a group of Americans. And one of the Americans suddenly got the point you put your finger on. And in the history of the United States, there's this famous decision of the Supreme Court, Brown versus Board of Education, which had to do with segregation in education. A very, very important decision of the Supreme Court. So Americans are kind of very sensitive to this. And we were talking about all kinds of things. And suddenly one of them said, just a minute, you're saying that the schools in Israel are segregated? They were kind of shocked by that. And then I said, you know what, why should I answer? There were people on the panel there, we had principals. Let the principals answer. So the question was turned to one of our Arab principals. And he said very honestly and immediately, he said, to be honest, I wouldn't like my kids to study in a Jewish school or to study together with Jews. I would like good relations, I would like equality of resources, etc., etc. But I'm a bit afraid of this mix because, he said he wouldn't like his daughter to go out with a Jewish guy and so on. So now I'm sure, absolutely sure, that many Jews would react in the same way. So right now there's not a lot of readiness, I think, among these two populations of staying together. But what I said earlier is that even if there was this readiness, the actual geographical conditions are such that it wouldn't be feasible to think about mixed schools on a large scale. I definitely think we can and should have more than we have today, but it would still be a very small minority. شكرا لكم. كل عام وأنتم بخير.
Thank you. Another life-changing program. Let's move this. Thank you all for your comments and thoughts, and thank you, Professor Statman, for the time to be with us here today. Let us enjoy some more of the sounds of Adib, Samar, and Sirin. Thank you. And now let us begin with the award ceremony. Dr. Lahnstein-Kandel and Professor Adital Ben-Ari, the head of the Arab Jewish Center, may I invite you on the stage to present the Werner Otto Scholarship for Outstanding Female Arab Graduate Students.
What I forgot to say, that we are here together. Nicola, managing our German office, my colleague Olaf Schulz-Guardian, and Professor Rainer Silbereisen, please come also. And Mrs. De Vries, please come. So, Fred, this is about 15% of your attendance of the Board of Governors of this year. Strong group. Yes, please.
I ask the Werner Otto scholars to come on the stage and remain on the stage for a group photo.
And Rania?
Together. Thank you. Okay. Let's do a group picture, everyone. Everyone with the card. No, stand up. It's okay. You can stand up. You don't need to. Open up a little. Yes, great. Great. Look at me, everyone. Another one. Thank you very much. עוד אחד? מעולה.
Now, for the Arab Jewish Community Leadership Program, may I invite Professor Kurman, Dean of Students, to present the certificates with Dr. Lahnstein-Kandel. Recipients, when we call your name, please come up and remain on stage for the group photo.
מה אמרת? מה רוצה להגיד לי?
לא, ששעה...
כן, אני יודע שעכשיו זה נורא משתנה, אבל עם המונופול.
מה? אמרת לא.
הוא לא מפריע לך.
ניקח מעצה.
Thank you.